A clinical entity not well defined, named, poorly understood, inadequately treated, extraordinary, bothersome. So this is Indian definition. In fact, this Indian definition is made by me at 2009 meeting in Goa. And this is recurrent pelvic pain or discomfort. Discomfort, see, patient come and tell us discomfort. Discomfort doesn't mean only pain. It means pressure, burning, throbbing itself. Our patients always will not say it's painful bladder syndrome or bladder pain syndrome. But patients do not have pain always. When pain we mean pressure, burning, throbbing. Sometimes patient will say children birth like pain of at least 4 weeks duration in the absence of definable pathology with one or more of the following. Symptoms increase with bladder filling and or decrease with urination, associated with frequency, associated with urgency. Now, this definition, the pelvic pain includes pain in suprapubic, retropubic, deep pelvic, urethral, vaginal, perineal, penile or scrotal lesion. So anything below the umbilicus to be very perfect. Frequency means more than 8 voids per day. Urgency means suddenly compelling desire to pass urine. Now there is an international definition in Miami. I was there in 2008 in Miami, where this international definition has been framed, and I have also contributed to it. And that definition which I told you earlier was framed in 2009. So it is little bit improvisation on this definition. This is the definition accepted all over the world, and it is used in American Urology Association guidelines as the definition. This is an unpleasant sensation, pain, pressure, discomfort, perceived to be related to the urinary bladder, associated with lower urinary tract symptoms of more than 6 weeks duration in the absence of infection or other identifiable causes. Now the problem with this definition is, it says perceived to be related to the urinary bladder. So who perceives? Does the doctor perceive or the patient perceives? Second, and then it says lower urinary tract symptoms, LUTS. So LUTS means also obstructive symptoms. That's a positive point because these patients can present with obstructive symptoms also. But when the definition was framed by us, they never thought, or we never thought, like the LUTS word was kept only because people wanted to avoid urgency in the definition. Because ICS said that urgency is for OAP. That was the time in 2006 to 2010 when people were reluctant in using word urgency. So only to avoid that urgency word and have an international consensus, we put this this LUTS. But we are not sure. Indirectly, that is better than we wanted it to be. See, in fact, I wanted it, the definition to be the way I have put it in 2009. But this is a consensus definition of 22 international urologists. So there is little bit difference. Now, bladder pain. What is bladder pain? See, we are talking of bladder pain syndrome, interstitial cystitis bladder pain syndrome. So it has been defined as a complaint of suprapubic or retropubic pressure, discomfort or pain associated with the bladder, generally aggravated by bladder filling. The symptom may persist or elevate after voiding. So this is bladder pain. See, the problem in this disease is you are talking of pelvic pain. So even if there is a pain in the urethra or in the vaginal tip which has a relation with micturition, it goes into interstitial cystitis bladder pain syndrome. But when you are naming this disease, you are talking of bladder pain. So even not only others, physicians or gynecologists or surgeons, but even urologists make this mistake. A patient which comes to them with a urethral pain at the tip of the urethra, which is related to micturition, they will not diagnose it as bladder pain syndrome because it has been oddly named as bladder pain syndrome. So actually it is pelvic pain which you have to consider as a bladder pain. So if you consider that, you will not be missing any patients of interstitial cystitis. So it includes bladder pain plus infrapubic, genital and urethral pain. So there is a term known as pelvic floor dysfunction. So many patients have concomitant high tone pelvic floor dysfunction, pelvic floor muscle tenderness and spasm. PFD can be exacerbated by vigorous physical exercise, prolonged sitting, impaired bladder evacuation, and dyspareunia. PFD can exacerbate ICPPS. So it is believed that ICVPS is because of PFD. There is a group which believes that way. Or I believe that PFD is because of interstitial cystitis. Now, see, this disease is, we really don't know if ICVPS is a disease of bladder or it is bladder symptom of a or secondary to some other disease. It may be a bladder disorder which is part of more generalized systemic disorder. It is a member of family of hypertensive disorders which affects bladder and other somatic visceral organs. So we are not sure. We are dealing with a disease where patient has a lot of problems, but we are not sure about so many things. Now, this particular slide represents, because I represented the drug company in front of Controller General India for registering pentosan polysulfate in India. Now, let us go to what work I have done. I have been talking about this, but do I have really done some work in this? I must have seen around 1,000 total patients in last 27 years. Cystoscopy done in 410 patients, 247 females and 163 males. This in last 27 years. February 1992 to December 2000, I have seen 56 patients. So like 6-7 patients per year. That time I was also not sure whether these are all IC or what it is. But from 2001, I have detailed record of all of my patients, and from 2001 to 2019, I have been seeing around 20 patients a year. And in all my series, I have 2 times the female patients than the male patients. So my female-male ratio is 2:1. Whereas all over the world, the male-female ratio is 1:8 or 1:9. Our ratio is different. The reason being, I consider chronic prostatitis as a part of interstitial cystitis. I don't consider chronic prostatitis as a different disease. So I have more male patients. Now, but all my this criteria and all my ratio changed when I came to Karamsad. So from July 2018, I have seen 38 patients of interstitial cystitis here, out of which 15 are female and 23 are males. So now I have less females than males. I think the reason is that females in our area are not coming for treatment. Otherwise, there is no reason why in population females should be less. Now, the average age of these patients is 42 years, and years before they present, the common average is 7.11. But I have also seen patients who are suffering from 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. And there is an entity known as Hunner's lesion, and average age for Hunner's lesion is more than average age for the non-Hunner's lesion patients. So it is around 51 years. This is a patient meeting in my hospital. Now, see, my center is a referral center, and I get patients from all over India for interstitial cystitis. And I have, because I was practicing in Ahmedabad for a long time, so around 186 patients from Ahmedabad, leaving Ahmedabad, 104 patients from Gujarat, 57 patients from India leaving Gujarat, and 7 international patients. So there are some patients from Russia and all these things we also talk about. Now, how does patient present to us? Discomfort in lower abdomen or pelvis with urinary frequency and or urgency. Discomfort in suprapubic, retropubic, deep pelvic, urethral, vaginal, perineal or scrotal lesion. Discomfort means pain, pressure, burning, dysuria, piercing pain, throbbing pain, childbirth pain. Discomfort increases on bladder filling and decreases on emptying. Once patient gets desire to pass urine, it cannot be postponed. Obstructive and anal symptoms may also be present. In my series, 22% of patients have anal pain, and most of these patients, when they go to general surgeons, they detect that there is either a fissure or something, but mostly it is because of the painful bladder syndrome that there is pain in the anal, which is known as the organ crosstalk. And there is no pathology to explain these symptoms. Now, obstructive symptoms are incomplete evacuation, thin stream, dribbling, interrupted stream. So patient, see, when we say IC, we mean frequency, urgency, dysuria. But patient also comes with these symptoms. And the most important thing is patients have sense of urination whole day, sitting on toilet for hours, immediately get a desire to pass urine after micturition, and sense of obstruction. If urination is delayed, suppose patient gets desire to pass urine and cannot pass urine, there is a delay because of some reason, then passing urine is difficult after that time, and they find it very difficult to pass urine. Now nocturia. So it is not that all the patients have nocturia. Around 60% patients have nocturia. In my series, 63% females have nocturia and 53 male patients have nocturia. So it is believed that there will always be problem in night. No. Some of the patients will tell you कि राते ऊँग आवे छे પછી વાતો નથી આવતો. Now what are AUA guidelines for diagnosis? So diagnosis by history, physical examination and lab test. This is what they recommend. Does not mention anything about ultrasonography, cystoscopy and or urodynamics for complex presentation, and bladder biopsy not useful in routine care. So this is all about diagnosis. Now let us come to this point. Now see, I've been working on this disease for 27 years, and I have hypothesis. My hypothesis is.
What will you see in a cystoscopy?
No, we will come to that. So one more thing I just want to clarify. Anything you want to ask, you can stop me at any point, as you stopped just now. Okay. So I will welcome questions while I am going through this session. Okay. So see, my hypothesis is that there is abnormality in the detrusor stretch, which causes interstitial cystitis. And all over the world, the research is basically going on detrusor mucosa and submucosa. I tried to do some work on detrusor muscles in pharmacological college in Ahmedabad, but somehow the equipment which we got to record muscle contractions didn't work. So, but I personally feel that it's the muscle detrusor stretch. See, my thinking is that it happens with all of us. If there is a rainy day and sometimes we get desire to pass urine, which we cannot stop. આપણે બધું મૂકીને જવું પડે. આપણે વિચાર કે સર્જરી પતે એટલે યુરિન કરી આવીએ. અને એ આપણી સાથે વર્ષમાં એક વખત થાય છે, પણ આઈસીના પેશન્ટ સાથે રોજ એવરી બોર્ડિંગમાં થાય છે. એટલે ડેટ્રુઝર સ્ટ્રેચ થાય છે, અને જ્યારે બ્રેનને એવું ખ્યાલ આવે છે કે આપણું બ્લેડર ફૂલ થઈ ગયું છે, એ નોર્મલ પર્સનમાં 400-500 ml આવે છે, અને એ જ વસ્તુ interstitial cystitis patients માં 30-40 ml કે 60 ml આવે છે. So, and sometimes it resembles asthma in the sense કે જે અસ્થમામાં કોઈ વખત પ્રોબ્લેમ હોય, કોઈ વખત સારું હોય, એવી રીતે આ પેશન્ટ્સમાં કોઈ વખત સારું હોય અને કોઈ વખત પ્રોબ્લેમ હોય. So that's why I believe that until unless internationally we don't work on detrusor stretch, we are not going to get a solution to this disease.
So what is the abnormality in detrusor stretch?
Same thing, na? When suppose
receptors, you said.
Detrusor.
So are they hypersensitive?
Yes. So see, normally 30 ml at 30 ml urine, nothing happens to my and your bladder. But in these patients at 30 ml, the detrusor stretch sends the signal to the brain that this is full.
Very much comparable with irritable bowel syndrome of.
Yes,
Exactly.
something like that.
Yeah, kind of irritable.
Kind of hypersensitivity.
Exactly like that. They are
Hypersensitivity.
diseases coexist. Now, in fact, I have discussed this with most of the scientists in the world who are working on detrusor stretch. But the problem is, even internationally, you don't get labs where you can work on detrusor stretch. There are labs where you can work on stomach because of so many things.
Yeah.
There are so many gastroenterology, smooth muscle of stomach and intestines. There are so many labs where you can work. Because I had a desire of going and working for 2 years in such a lab where I can work on detrusor stretch. But there are no, it's not possible perhaps even getting the.
No, with the stomach they have established an entity called adaptive loss of adaptive relaxation of stomach in NUD. Also, I think it seems quite similar.
Yes.
That adaptive relaxation is lost.
That's what some work has been done in gastroenterology.
Yeah.
But in neurology, detrusor to get that graph on the, આપણે કરતા
Simple
physiology
muscle.
માં એ ગ્રાફ નથી આવતો. એટલે મારે પણ we tried in અમદાવાદ પણ ગ્રાફ નથી આવતો. Now yes, so patient goes to washroom many times while waiting for consultation. In fact, મારે તો ત્યાં મારા જે વોર્ડ બોય હતા ને એ ડાક્ટર સાહેબ આઈસીયુ પેશન્ટ છે 5 વખત જઈ આવ્યો કરે. પછી patient goes to pass urine while the consultation is going on. Patient prefers to stay home due to urinary problems. Patient sits in bathroom for hours. Patient prefers to travel by train. કારણ કે ટ્રેનમાં બાથરૂમ હોય. Patient has to pass urine even when traveling on highway, in market, in toiletless trains, in presence of other people. Patients look for toilet first when go out. Some patients prefer to wear sari, females, as they can sit even on roadside to pass urine. મારા પેશન્ટો કહે કે મોયમુમાં અમારે ડિબ્બાની અંદર બધા સામે બેસીને યુરિન કરવું પડે. So this is such a bad disease. Now 3-step diagnosis, I have developed this. 3 questions. So when you take history, અને હવે તો મારે ત્યાં મારી સાથે ડોક્ટર ભૂષણ છે, મારા રેસિડેન્ટ્સ છે, બધા પણ everybody in science in surgery department now diagnoses patients. અને I get a reference કે આ ICU patient મને રેફર થાય છે હવે મારા ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટ પર. પણ when you take history and a patient says કે urine લાગે છે ઘડી ઘડી puffing થાય, so you should think કે આ ICU હોઈ શકે. Now I ask 3 questions to the patients. Is it necessary for you to void if you once get desire to pass urine? The second question is, does the pain increase when bladder is filled up? And the third question is, does the pain decrease or goes away when you finish voiding? If answer to all these questions is yes, you are mostly dealing with a patient of interstitial cystitis. Only thing is, we get a ultrasound done, and if ultrasound doesn't show any abnormality, no residual urine, this is interstitial cystitis. But if the suppose patient has bladder stone, ureteric, lower ureteric stone, residual urine, medial lobe of prostate, we'll come to that. So what I do normally in my practice, ના અહીંયા નથી પણ ત્યાં મારી પ્રાઇવેટમાં કરતો હતો, કે after examining the patient, I ask them to go back in waiting room and read the Hindi brochure. I have a Hindi brochure on ICBPS and come back in the consulting room. Most of the patients themselves diagnose that they are suffering from ICBPS. Patients also know how they will be treated, because in the brochure I have written that it is not possible, there is no guarantee. And so this is the brochure which I give to the patients. Even I give to the patients here in my clinic. So it's a clinical diagnosis. No investigations can diagnose ICBPS. So many times even you must have read that bladder biopsy interstititis, that is wrong. We need investigations to rule out other diseases. Now what are normally the differential diagnosis is UTI, urethral stricture, bladder stone, lower ureteric stone, medial lobe of prostate, carcinoma bladder, tuberculosis, eosinophilic cystitis. Now, let's come to what are the investigations? So we do urine routine and culture. It's not necessary to do culture in all the patients. If your urine routine is more or less normal, there is no need to do culture. USG KOB with post-void residue and cystoscopy. No, sonography is normal in these patients. Because patients cannot hold urine, bladder capacity is small, with normal bladder wall thickness and normal upper tract. This is very important. A small capacity bladder with normal upper tracts, normal wall thickness, think of interstitial cystitis. And capacity should be measured when patients get desire to pass urine, otherwise there is false residual urine or retention. Now this patient is not holding more than 60 ml. After radiology, bladder full nothing. Haji wait karo. They go on getting a lot of pain and ultimately land up in retention or residual urine and come with a wrong diagnosis. This is what. So whenever I send a patient to the radiologist, I tell them, patient jare ke bladder full che, that you have to consider as a full carotid polyp. Why USG is mandatory in ICBPS? Must to rule out this. હવે જેટલા પણ આપણે ડીબી કીધા એ તમે ક્લિનિકલી તો રૂલ આઉટ કરી જ ના શકો. So that's why I have objection to AUA guidelines, because I told them also that you should have ultrasound. Otherwise you cannot diagnose so many diseases. In fact, ultrasound is mentioned in Canadian Urology Association guidelines, but it's not mentioned in American Urology Association guidelines. And following AUA guidelines will miss these common diseases. So if you don't do ultrasound, a patient comes and you just write all these things. So why cystoscopy? The question is, they don't mention that you should do cystoscopy. My protocol is I do cystoscopy in all the patients. So that's why you saw that I've been seeing more than 1,000 cases, but cystoscopy done in 410 cases. But I do cystoscopy in all the patients. This is because diagnosis of other treatable diseases. If Hannah's lesion is found, it can be immediately coagulated, resected or treated with laser. Now, diagnosis of other treatable diseases. So 350 cases of interstitial cystitis, 3 cases of tuberculosis. So let us be sure, let us have it in our mind that these patients who present exactly like tuberculosis are not tuberculosis. But in our country, I have seen patients where I am looking at IC symptoms and do a cystoscopy, and I find some mucosal changes in the biopsy comes as tuberculosis. So we have to do, because tuberculosis is treatable disease. So we have to do cystoscopy. Carcinoma in situ, no, not a single case. But we have missed. In fact, not only me, but so many persons we missed in a patient where I went on treating this patient for 6 years initially. Then the patient down the line developed a CA bladder, which was missed. I did ileocystoplasty and he had problems and all this. That we will come to later on. So most of the times if we do these cases, we will get tuberculosis, no other disease. Eosinophilic cystitis, 2-3 cases. No other disease we get it. Therapeutic hydrodistension done at the same sitting, bladder capacity is measured. If bladder capacity is 100 ml, 150 ml, we can tell the patient chances of you getting better is very less. Biopsy of any pre-distension lesion can be done. So I will tell you what I mean by pre-distension lesion, where we need to do biopsy. How cystoscopy? Always under spinal anesthesia. The reason why I do under spinal anesthesia is that after spinal anesthesia, the patients, when they come, they don't come out of the anesthesia, but when we take them to the ward, the pelvis is relaxed and they feel comfortable. If we do it under GA, when we take them out to the ward, or as soon as they come out of anesthesia, they say that roti karo, because they get a lot of pain in the urethral region. So that's why I shifted from GA to spinal anesthesia. But no cystoscopy in interstitial cystitis patient under local anesthesia. I think it's a crime, because it's very painful to the patients. Even if you do PV, even you do PR in a prostatitis patient, it's very painful. So doing total cystoscopy under a local anesthesia, I think is a crime. And we keep the reservoir height at 80 centimeter. Bladder is distended, drained, and distended again for 3 minutes. This is the double distension. The reason being, if when we drain back, very few patients will develop granulation when I am doing cystoscopy and distending the bladder. But when I evacuate the bladder, you get the reddish spots. Now, pre-distension, suppose when if Hannah's lesion is there, the moment you do cystoscopy, you can see some abnormal area into the bladder. While the bladder is distended, while you are distending the bladder, you can see some areas which are abnormal. And then you go on looking at that area and you can see the lesions. That is a pre-distension lesion. Even if you have a patient of carcinoma in situ, it will be there before you distend the bladder. So anything which develops before you distend the bladder is already there, is to be biopsied. 10% of such lesions will show some pathology. But anything which develops after the distension has been done, there is no need to biopsy. And as you saw, even in AUA guidelines, it is written that biopsy has no role. So we don't biopsy any reddish lesion which develops after hydrodistension or after distension. First stage is therapeutic. So I treat the patient in a stage treatment. I have been treating in stage treatment from 2000. But AUA guidelines mention stage treatment from 2010, 11. So I have been doing that long back before the guidelines came. And first stage is therapeutic hydrodistension at time of diagnostic cystoscopy, followed by oral therapy. Second stage is intravesical therapy, and third stage is surgery. Now hydrodistension. So see, what is the difference between hydrodistension and hydrodilatation? Reservoir height is not increased to dilate the bladder. So we never do hydrodilatation in interstitial cystitis. Filled till 800 ml maximum. The reason why I have put this 800 ml maximum was, initially everybody thought, and I was trained like, okay, tuberculous bladder, don't distend a lot. So I thought initially that these are all tuberculous bladder. So I will not distend it more than 800 ml, fearing that I may not perforate it. So, but now I don't distend it more than that. But around 10% of patients of interstitial cystitis whose ultrasound capacity is 60 ml or 80 ml, you will be able to distend it more than 1000 ml in 10% of patients under anesthesia. But I don't have that record because I don't do it more than 800.
That is only in spinal.
That is
Only in spinal.
only in
The
spinal.
anesthesia is only spinal.
See, જો તમે જે આપ્યું હોય ને તો તમે આ સિસ્ટોસ્કોપી પૂરી જ નહીં કરી શકો. કારણ કે પેશન્ટને પેન એટલું બધું થાય છે કે એને કેટલું ડીપ લઈ જવું પડે અને પેલું આપણે જો મોટા ભાગે આપણે ત્યાં સિસ્ટોસ્કોપી કરવી છે તો આપણે પેન્ટોથાલ અને કેટમિનમાં કરીએ બરોબર ના ટ્યુબેટ કરવું પડે ઇન્ટ્યુબેટ કરવું પડે તો જીએમાં કરવું પડે અધરવાઇઝ તમે કરી જોજો ને કે એન્ડ યુ વિલ રિયલાઇઝ કે તમે એ કરી જ નહીં શકો કારણ કે હું એવી રીતે ઘણી વખત હેરાન થયો છું અને then I felt so sorry કે I have not done a correct cystoscopy for the patient. ત્યારે સ્પાઇનલમાં બિલકુલ પેશન્ટ ઇઝીલી રહે છે અને 1000-1200 ઓલ્સો, પણ હું 800 થી વધારે નથી ભરતો કારણ કે I have that mind में आप afraid not. Henners lesion is present is coagulator. I will show you videos of Henners lesion. Foley's catheter kept for 3 to 4 hours. Patient ને જેમ anesthesiaમાંથી બહાર આવે અને patient કહે મને દુખે છે, the catheter is removed. Hydrodistension is a controversial treatment. I have found it useful. Gives initial relief in almost all the patients. જ્યાં સુધી હું tablets ને બધું આપું છું, patient ની effect આવતા વાર થાય. ધારો કે પેન્ટોસાન છે તો 3 મહિના 6 વીક ઇફેક્ટ આવતા વાર થાય, ત્યાં સુધી આની ઇફેક્ટ ચાલુ રહે. અને I will repeat hydrodistension only if the patient comes after a year and says કે સાહેબ વરસ મને સારો હતો, તો હું ફરી કરીશ. પણ પેશન્ટ 3 મહિના કે મહિના પછી પાછો આવે અને કહે કે મને ફરી હાઇડ્રોડિસ્ટેન્શન કરી આપો, તો હું નથી કરતો. કારણ કે પહેલા હજી પણ ઘણી જગ્યાએ એવું છે કે લોકો મહિને મહિને હાઇડ્રોડિસ્ટેન્શન કરે છે. બટ આઈ ડોન્ટ બિલીવ, આઈ વિલ નેવર ડુ ઇટ if it is less than 1 year. So what is oral therapy? I believe in a multimodal therapy. So I give amitriptyline 25 mg, hydroxyzine 25 mg and gabapentin 100 mg. Now pentosan 100 mg OD, empty stomach in few patients. Pentosan dose is 100 mg TDS. So if we want to give only pentosan, then we will give 100 mg 3 times a day. But I don't believe in giving only pentosan. So I will mostly give the patients the cocktail, the triple drug therapy, and in some patients, because it always depended on how patient can afford. So some patients I will give OD pentosan. I have also given
What is the pentosan?
pentosan is a drug which is FDA approved for interstitial cystitis.
Generally,
What is
Molecule is
polysulfate?
PPS.
Pentosan polysulfate.
Sodium.
It's a heparin
Pentosan
heparin
polysulfate
analog.
sodium.
this is branded.
Heparin
This
analog.
is pentosan is I call it pentosan because everybody understands
It's a method.
And the brand name is, for example, there are 2-3 brand names available in India, and some pharma has Systopare as their brand.
Otherwise, this is generic name itself.
Yes, pentosan is because we don't say the brand names in our lectures.
Short form.
Pentosan, PPS, pentosan polysulfate sodium. There is also availability of pentosan polysulfate potassium, but it is mostly used in veterinary practice. So all patients take this treatment for 3 months, and then you go on changing the dose and everything. Patient is very thin, you may give 10 mg amitriptyline. Some patients patients can take all these 3 tablets 2 times in a day. So that goes on changing. So what is the pathogenesis? See, we don't have a final pathogenesis, but if you look at this chart, so there is bladder insert. For example, if I get a UTI, I take antibiotic, my bladder infection goes away, now bladder mucosa gets repaired. Now the problem arises in these patients is that you do, they get an infection, their bladder mucosa doesn't get repaired. Epithelial layer damage, urine substance leaks and urothelial dysfunction, activation of C fibers and release of substance P, neurogenic inflammation with mast cell activation. Then there is a vicious cycle, more injury and bladderism. So these patients go into a vicious cycle, the mucosa doesn't heal. Now there is one more question, why this 3 months? You know, I never know. आपने क्या सोचे? एक simple चीज है कि unknowingly we practice something like everything 3 months. धारो के nocturnal enuresis છે તો 3 months. So most of the times we give 1 મહિના પછી 3 મહિના ઘણી બધી દવાઓ એવી છે જે 3 મહિના સુધી આપી છે. પણ bladderમાં શું છે? It takes like 60 to 90 days for the bladder mucosa to repair. The skin mucosa is replaced every 2 to 3 days, but the bladder mucosa is replaced every 3 months. So that's why if we give minimum 3 months, that's the logic. So what happens? Why do you give multimodal therapy? Now pentosan polysulfate sodium acts as epithelial layer. The tricyclic therapy amitriptyline acts as a different level. And antihistaminic therapy that acts as a different level. And pregabalin or gabapentin which we use that acts as for neuropathic pain. So that's why the multimodal therapy we are taking so many modalities of treatment and giving it to the patient, same thing like tuberculosis, that you give it and the resistance is less. So we use many drugs plus I am doing also hydrodistension. So that is also one therapy. Plus if I get a Hernandez lesion, I will do coagulation. So in one go, I am doing 5 therapies together, thinking that patient will benefit. Now, if the oral therapy fails, we give patients intravesical therapy. And Marcaine with steroid cocktail, this has been, I have been using this. This has been developed by me. In fact, everybody has changed according to our this thing. These products are available. So we use this every. So if patient fails therapy, patient comes after 2 months and says कि मैंने सारू नहीं. So that oral therapy will continue. In interstitial cystitis, you don't stop any treatment. You add treatments, and then I start intravesical therapy. This is total 47 ml kept in the bladder with a 10 cc, 10 French feeding tube, and then after 30 minutes, patient voids 6 times after interval of 15 days. Now, intravesical tacrolimus, this formulation has been developed by me, and I used it in 30 patients, and 15 patients have improved. So, normal our philosophy is that we give cystoscopy, hydrodistension, oral therapy, then intravesical cocktail, and then another, if the patient fails intravesical cocktail, I give intravesical tacrolimus. So, around 50, it is effective in 15% patients where they have a severe disease. So this 50% is a big improvement. Now Botox and interesting.
So Nagendra, I mean, stepwise you just upstate the treatment.
Oh.
Like initially starting with
Okay.
dissection.
One more time.
Then your this bupivacaine.
Start with hydrodistension.
With cystoscopy, hydrodistension, then oral therapy. All the patients.
So
Drugs, then cystoscopy.
So what is your experience like? Let's say out of 150 patients, I mean out of say 50 patients you are treating, how much will respond at first stage? How
It is
much second?
it's a rule of 50. So if I start 100 patients, 50 patients will get okay by cystoscopy, hydrodistension and oral therapy. 50 of
Oral therapy is a must.
हाँ सी
Followed by
કે પહેલા હું ખાલી સિસ્ટોસ્કોપી હાઇડ્રોડિસ્ટેશન કરતો હતો પછી પેશન્ટોને 6-7 દિવસ પછી જેને સારું ના થાય તો એને એ પેશન્ટ પછી પાછો નતો આવતો કે ડોક્ટર સાહેબ તમે કર્યું પૈસા ખર્ચે ખાલી પ્રાઇવેટમાં પૈસા લાગે અને મને સારું નથી થયું એટલે આઈ એડેડ ટ્રિપલ થેરાપી એઝ ધ ફર્સ્ટ સ્ટેજ ઓનલી પહેલા ખાલી હું હાઇડ્રોડિસ્ટ કરતો હતો તો 50% પેશન્ટ એવા સારું બાકી જે 50 બચે એ પેશન્ટમાંથી 25 પેશન્ટ ઇન્ટ્રાવેસાઇકલ કોકટેલથી સારા થાય છે અને બાકી જે 25 બચ્યા ને એમાંથી 12.5 પેશન્ટ they get cured by intravesical tacrolimus, and that gives me an edge because I claim that I have the best results in the world. Anywhere, you go US, America, they still, my paper on tacrolimus has been published last year, and people are getting interested in that. So that 12.5 patients give me an edge. Normally, the success rate in all over the world is 70 to 80%, whereas my success rate goes above that. Then now I have become very aggressive in doing surgical therapy. So my success rate even goes beyond that. So when a patient comes to me, I tell him 8 to 9 patients will get okay.
So what is the cost involved in each step? Like you go for hydrodissection, right?
The cost is for in our hospital, it is 10,000 rupees in general
For hydrodissection.
for hydrodissection.
Okay. And second stage like bupivacaine and
These drugs
heparin and
are 500 rupees charge. Even tacrolimus is 500 rupees. In our hospital, we don't charge any money for doing it. But I can give an overview, like in my private practice, I used to charge 50,000 rupees.
So I mean, sorry, I'm sort of splitting hairs, but then as you said, with hydrodissection, a lot of patients, in spite of continuing with the complaint, are not returning, they're just giving up on it. But if those patients are coming back to you, let's say you establish a pattern where patient is all right, I mean, although I have not improved, but still I would like to go. Would you like to continue with hydrodissection further? How many
Okay,
chances?
I will come back to, that's my last slide. I will come back to that. Okay. So that's very interesting, and I will come back to that. Okay. So see, because now after analyzing for 20 years, I have come to know that it's 50% only. So even if I am giving cystoscopy, hydrodistension, and triple drug therapy, the result is only 50% after 20 years. So now So my last slide is give answer to your question. I have gone back. In fact, now I am doing whatever my current research projects are. So there you will find that I have a arm where I do only cystoscopy and hydrodissection. Well, I now want to really know, okay, if 50% diseases are even in that cystoscopy hydrodissection only, then why not to do it only and then wait for something? But it took me many years to realize that even if what I am doing is giving only 50% result. Now Botox and Intersteam, I don't have any experience with them. 2 patients Botox I gave, they didn't improve, so I don't advise Botox to these patients. And I have no experience with Intersteam. Intersteam is used in bowel disorders also, but I have no experience. And so they have been removed from my protocol. Now there is a new thing coming up like peripheral nerve stimulation. It's simple, you have to just wear a instrument, and sometimes you can also fix stimulator 5 centimeters above the medial malleolus in the tibial nerve, and then with the instrument you can give it. So these are the things coming up. They are not very sure whether they work or not. See, some urologists who work only on Intersteam, so any patient comes to them, they do Intersteam. So, but only thing is you have to do first check up whether the pain goes away with Intersteam, the results are good, then only there is a test done for with Intersteam. The problem in India is, in US or Europe, if you put an Intersteam one, it has a lifelong warranty. So if there is any problem in the machine, then they will replace it. In India, we don't have that lifelong warranty. So I will not, it will cost me around 10 to 12 lakhs. I am not sure about the results. The putting Intersteam is very easy. So I think I went to Utrecht in Netherlands and I learned that. Then I also went in US and learned that. Like putting it is very easy, but it's really worth. Now surgery. So this is a last resort in patients with severe disease. So I've done ileocystoplasty in 11 cases. 9 cases, there are excellent results. In my series, there are 4 deaths. In 2 patients, there was a death after 6 years and 15 years. So they died their natural death, and they were happy with the surgery. And then one patient, as I told you, died of CF bladder because he developed leak on the 4th ring. And then, after 3 months, his urinary symptoms improved. But then again, there was a leak.